How can offering terms to buyers help you make $80,000, $150,000, maybe even $400,000 more than you would selling the traditional way to a traditional buyer? I'm going to show you next. I'm Blaine Washburn with RXB Realty. I'm Utah's Seller Finance Authority, and I want to walk you through how we do this. First of all, you can go to my website at utahownerfinancedhomes.com. I have a similar page on the Facebook as well as one on YouTube. If you go there and just click on Sell Your Home, it'll walk you through basically what I'm going to teach you here. First off, you absolutely can make this kind of money when you sell your home. An average transaction between the price of $450,000 and $650,000 can literally put in your pocket at least $80,000, maybe upwards of $150,000, depending on what that underlying mortgage looks like. And it's not that hard to get to $150,000, as you will see. And where do we make this money? We make it through pushing the price of the home up by 10%. That's a big piece of it. Also, interest income that you make, it's the difference between the new note that we create and your underlying mortgage. That adds up, and that's going to make you a ton of money. And then last thing is that your underlying mortgage, since it is more mature, especially during the first few years, is going to reduce quicker than what the buyers will. So that'll create you some additional income as well. Let me kind of walk you through exactly what we're doing here. This is an example of what it might look like if you're offering terms to buyers. This is with an average size home, $550,000. And what we're doing, we're pushing it up. We're offering buyers terms. Really, these are buyers who are super motivated to buy a home, but they just don't have the credit to purchase a home right now, but they've got a lot of cash that they can put down. They're actually really good buyers. And we're going to require them to put 10 to 15%, sometimes even more than that, down on the transaction, which actually does a lot to protect the seller from potential default or other problems. So, and that's a key. You need to get 10 to 15% down. So in this transaction, traditional value of this home is $550,000, and we're going to push it up, add 10% to that. We're going to push it up to $605,000. Now, the underlying mortgage on this property is 3.25%, and we're assuming we can get 6.5% on this thing. We may be able to get 7, maybe even as high as 7.5%, especially right now as interest rates are going up. And we're going to give them, well, you can create whatever term that you want, but I usually recommend you keep it to about 5 years. And we're going to, in this particular example, we're going to ask for the buyer to put 10% down. Now, with this scenario, there's the underlying mortgage for the seller is $2,213.93. That's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. The buyer's new mortgage on the home is going to be $3,697.11. So you can see there's about close to $1,500 in monthly profit right there all by itself. And that adds up over a 5-year term. Since I'm only calculating this for 5 years, that adds up to $88,990 over a 5-year period. Fantastic. And of course, we're pushing that price up. You're going to capture some money there as well. And then what we do is we do a comparison of the two notes at the end of the 5-year period. And the difference of that, we add that into it. And in this particular case, the seller will make $148,500 over what they would selling the traditional way. In this example, he would have walked away with $64,000, and instead they're going to walk away with $212,000. This strategy can be super powerful in pocketing a ton of money. Back to this, there's a few other benefits I kind of want to walk you through. Again, we require the buyer to put 10 to 15% down. Again, this is super critical because this is how you're going to keep your buyer in check to make sure they're honoring the agreement. There's a lot less risk than putting a renter or a tenant in there because a tenant has very little money into the property. They don't care a lot about it. These buyers will take care of the property. Nobody wants to lose $50,000 to $75,000 that they put down on a property. I mean, that's a huge hook that keeps them in fulfilling the terms of the contract on their end. So here's another really cool benefit. Really, because of the way we structure this, we're really having the buyer pay the real estate commissions. Now, understand that when you get to closing, the commissions do come out of the seller proceeds. However, remember, we push the price up by 10%, requiring them to pay 10 to 15% down on the transaction, and commissions are paid out of that down payment. So really, it's the buyer who's paying that, although it shows out of the seller proceeds. And even after you pay, even after all that is paid, you're still going to make that high amount, $80,000 to $150,000. If you go back into this example, you can see that that's calculated into it, and you're still making $212,000 off this transaction instead of the $63,000. So, this is a great way to do that. Another cool feature with this strategy is that you can get a super quick close. I've seen transactions happen super quick. I don't usually recommend they happen faster than 10 days, but 10 days is very, it's something that would be acceptable. And also too, this is a purchase transaction. This is not renting. It's not a lease to own. It's nothing like that. There is no landlording, and the buyer is responsible for all repairs. So this is another great reason why this is such a good way to sell your home. And if you have a mortgage, usually that's not a problem. In fact, most of these transactions happen with mortgages on them. There are a few mortgages we got to be careful with. So let me know what kind of mortgage you have, and I can tell you whether or not we can make this work. So again, a lot of money to be made this way. Super quick transaction. It's not too hard to put together if you know what you're doing. And there can be a lot of pitfalls with this. So I recommend that if you don't call and use me, make sure you find an agent who really understands seller finance so they can structure it the right way for you. Again, my name is Blaine Washburn with RXB Realty. I'm Utah's Seller Finance Authority, and give me a call to see if your home will qualify for this seller finance strategy.